Welcome to the section of the course where we're going to get our hands dirty and start utilizing React Testing Library. Now, in order to utilize React Testing Library, we need to have an application to test. And what we're going to do is follow the test-driven development methodology. So what we're going to do is write our test and then write our feature and then make sure that the tests pass. So at the end of the day, what we're going to do in this section is test our application and also write our application. So we're not just going to have a fully pledged application and we're just going to test it. No, we're going to write it and test it simultaneously. Now, what's the application that we're going to be building? Well, we're going to be building a very simple form application, and you guys seen this before. So over here, we have this very simple sign up form where a user puts their email, puts their password, and confirms their password. And this right here is the design, and this is how it should look. Now, the other images are going to show how it should behave. So if you were to put an invalid email, what we should have is this error over here that says the email you input is invalid. And we get this error once we click submit on an invalid email. Now, if we have a valid email but an invalid password, we get this error. And then if we just do not confirm our password correctly, then we get this error right over here. So this is what we are going to build and test with React Testing Library. So you know what? Let's just get right into it. In this video, what we're going to do is create a React application, and we're also going to inspect the boilerplate code. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing that we need to do to create a React application is we need to go and open up our terminal or our command prompt if we're on Windows and move into whatever directory we want our application to live in. And then once we're there, what we would execute is npx create react app. And then we're going to give our React application a name. Let's call it sign up form. So that's all we have to do. Now this command is going to take some time to execute, so I actually already did this beforehand. But if you haven't, which I'm assuming you haven't, pause the video and wait till it's done executing, and then you can resume watching. Now once you execute this command, what you should have is a sign up form folder React app that is living inside of whatever directory you created it in. In this case, it's in my desktop. So if you did something like cd sign up app, you should be able to see it. Awesome. Now, once that's done, open up that folder inside of your favorite text editor. I'm using VS Code, which is by far the most popular text editor in the planet right now. So I went ahead and I opened it up, and as you can see, we have a pretty boilerplate React application. I do expect you to be relatively familiar with what's going on here. Right here we have this app component, and it's just rendering, this learn React anchor tag. It has a paragraph over here and has an image right over here that shows the logo. So very, very simple component, and it's being rendered inside of the index.js, as you can see here. Now, one thing that I want to inspect is this file right over here, app.test.js. So it appears as though that this is a test file that is testing the app.js component. And that's exactly what is happening. Typically, when we're utilizing React Testing Library, this is the naming convention. So the component that we're testing, .test.js. So let's actually go ahead and click into it, and let's just look at what's happening here. Now, we're not going to actually look into the test part a little bit later. We'll dissect that in future videos. But right now, what I want to focus in on is this right over here. So we're importing something called render and screen from @testing-library-react. So it seems by default, React is utilizing testing library. So we don't have to do any installation, any configuration ourselves. By default, it is actually already being used. So if we went to our package.json and we looked at all of the dependencies, you can see that, well, that's actually what's happening. You can see that, yes, we have testing library. We have testing library-react, testing library-user event, we have testing library-jest DOM. So it's already installed, and what's nice about it is we don't have to do any initial configuration. Now, if we look at the scripts, you can see, of course, we have the start script, the build script, but we also have a test script. So we have a script that we can run to run all of our tests. So let's actually go ahead and do that. I'm going to open up my terminal, and I'm going to do npm run test, and just to see what happens. And there we go. We get this over here. I'm going to say A to run all tests. You might not get this. And you can see that it is going to detect this test file, app.test.js. And right now we have one passing test. So what's happening here is when we run npm run test, it's going to look for all of the files that have this structure, the app.test.js, and then it's going to go ahead and run them. Now inside of the app.test.js, we have one test and it is passing. And again, we'll look at the test itself a little bit later, but for now you can see that we do just have one test and, well, it's passing. Renders learn React link, it's passing. And as you can see, this is that test. Awesome. So one other thing that I want to note is that React testing library uses another library called Jest under the hood. So Jest is a very popular testing library, and React testing library is utilizing that to build this React testing framework. So right over here, if we were to go back to our package.json, you can see that we also have this dependency right here, Jest DOM. All right, so I hope that makes sense. And now that we have a good understanding of the file structure for React application, let's actually move on and start utilizing React testing library.